Everybody's talking about Ichi the Witch. So if you haven't had a chance to catch up yet, or you're not familiar with the story, this one's for you. 15 minutes, one arc, everything you need to know. A contest to decide one boy's future gets hijacked by something that can end the world, and that's the Kindake Contest Arc. And it is where Ichi the Witch stops being an interesting premise and becomes a fully loaded story. We are breaking down chapters 11 through 22 of Ichi the Witch, the Kindake Contest Arc. We've got a political showdown, a mushroom hunt, the world's greatest threat showing up uninvited, and a blood contract that changes everything. Let's get into it. Here's something the title of this arc doesn't tell you. The Kindake Contest isn't really about the Kindake Majik. It's about who gets to decide what Ichi becomes and what that decision says about how the witch world actually works. When Hunt 11 opens, the Matinal Witches Association is already in the middle of that debate. Shirobadana has just presented her report on Ichi to the full conference. The numbers are not subtle. 3 magics acquired in 2 weeks. Hunts that normally take months, sometimes years. Villagers who didn't just tolerate him, they were grateful. They called him their savior. By every measurable standard, Ichi is working. So the association votes to announce him to the world. And then Chikatoji Togeice, the Silver Snow Witch, walks through the mirror portal and says 2 words, "I oppose." Now here's what I want you to notice about that moment. Togeice's objection isn't emotional, it's institutional. Her argument is that one village is not the world, that accepting him in a single isolated location and then immediately presenting him to everyone with no guarantee he's fully ready is reckless. She wants him to go through the Matinal Magic School, learn theory, sit in the classroom, earn the title the right way. And she says this is as someone who Moneygo herself considers the most dedicated, serious, and hardworking witch of her generation. The one she'd nominate to lead the association if anything ever happened to her. Togeice's opposition isn't a power play. It is what loyalty to the institution looks like when the institution is being asked to move faster than she thinks it should. Desscaras' counter is everything you'd expect. Give him a book and he'll use it as a campfire fuel, or he'll use it as campfire fuel. Let him loose in the mountains. Real world practice, real hunts, real consequences. That's how his kind learns. And the two of them go back and forth. Proper education, practical training, proper education, practical training, until Shirobadana physically positions herself between them and proposes the contest. Whoever acquires the Kindake Majik first wins the argument. Togeice wins. Ichi goes to a formal program. Ichi wins. The association announces him to the world as the first male witch, or as a male witch. And here's the details that tells you everything about where Ichi actually stands in this world. He's not even in the room when they're negotiating this or trying to make the decision. He's out at a camp with Muji cooking. He sneezes. The whole thing gets decided without him. He sneezes because he knows someone's talking about him, or at least Muji knows that, or Kumaji knows that. Again, then the whole thing gets decided without him. He doesn't find out a contest even exists until Togeice tells him to his face at the hunt site. His future is being negotiated by people who see him as a problem to be solved, not a person to be consulted. And that's not an accident. That's good writing here. Let's just say we can understand why Togeice wants him educated through the proper channels, but Desscaras understands that Ichi is a feral mountain boy who has built his ability to acquire his first 3 magics on his expertise feral hunting approach. So, what is the Kindake Majik? It's small, about 6 inches tall, it's fast, and it is completely convinced that mushrooms are sacred, that every living creature worship them as gods, and that anyone who doesn't participate in the holy ritual mushroom dance at least once a week is simply wrong. When Team Desscaras first makes contact with it, the Kindake Majik is genuinely baffled that anyone would classify it as a threat. It wasn't causing problems. It was spreading mushroom. Beautiful, sacred mushrooms, obviously. But here's why that matters beyond the comedy. The Kindake Majik's trial is to sever the stem attached to its body while it runs. That means this isn't a fight, it's a chase. And a chase rewards a completely different skill set than a battle. It rewards tracking, patience, reading terrain, and using the environment against your target. Togeice understands this as a tactical problem. She deploys her ice magic, a name or a spell called Huldra, to freeze the mushroom forest solid and slow the magic's reproduction. She runs intelligence through her students or her team members, or those that's on her team. She controls the field before she enters it. This is textbook matinal witch hunting, precise, methodical, and by the book. Ichi doesn't work from a book. He doesn't work from a book at all. By Hunt 13, while Togeice is managing the forest from above, Ichi is already inside of it, tracking the Kindake Majik the same way he tracked any prey, not through magic, but through his knowledge of mushroom behavior as a hunter. He reads where it moves, anticipates where it goes, and closes in. The Kindake Majik cannot figure out how he keeps finding it. That's the gap the arc is drawing our attention to. Togeice prepares for an incompetent new witch. What she gets is someone who learned to hunt before he ever learned what a witch was. And just when that contrast is fully on display, just when Ichi is closing in and the hunt is his to take, something else enters the picture. It happens earlier in Hunt 12, before the forest, almost in passing. Ichi and his team are moving through the village when a Majik walks by. Not an animal form, not something otherworldly, a figure that looks like a man, wearing what appears to be a traditional samurai hat. Every Majik we've encountered in this series up to this point has been in some type of non-human form. This one looks like a person, and both of them stop at exactly the same time. And we're talking about Ichi and this Majik that looks like a man. Ichi senses death for death. That's his term, the recognition of lethal intent, the thing that activates his deepest hunting instincts. He goes wide-eyed. The magic registers him in return. No words, 4 panels, just eyes. Just that mutual, immediate understanding of what the other one is. That's the World-Hater Majik. And the contest Ichi was almost winning just became the least important thing happening in this arc. The World-Hater Majik, yes, has arrived. I guess the best way to say it, he didn't just arrive, but he happened to be in the same location as the witches. And this is not a new threat. Desscaras is very familiar with the destruction habits or the destruction that the World-Hater Majik can basically cause. And the payoff is brutal. The association's greatest enemy, a godlike level magic, a walking extinction event, crashes into the middle of a mushroom hunt. The contest becomes irrelevant in an instant. Ichi senses him again, and his instinct, because he is exactly who he is to hunt it. This is just another prey, just bigger, just more dangerous. He engages, he pushes everything he has against something that is absolutely beyond the current level, and he holds on long enough to counter it. Ichi counters it because he relies on Eurorow amplification magic. The thing is, when Ichi pulls to Eurorow and uses his magic, it knocks Ichi out, and we learn that back in the earlier chapters, around chapters 1 and 2. Counter it. But the cost is immediate. The strain drops him unconscious. That's where Desscaras steps in. And this is the moment the arc uses to show you who she actually is underneath the big personality and the confidence. She stands in front of a magic that made Ichi, a boy with miracle instincts and the will to hunt anything, hit the floor, knocked out. And she holds that line. Togeice joins her. The two of them, rivals minutes ago, now form a front line while civilians are evacuated. And yes, this is what the witches do. The World-Hater Majik doesn't fight them to a conclusion. It doesn't need to. Once the last villager is clear, it simply leaves. It was never trying to win a duel. Its presence alone was the catastrophe itself. And we will learn a lot more about the World-Hater Majik in other arcs to come. So let's continue. And that's the distinction the arc wants us to sit with. Nobody beats the World-Hater Majik here. Ichi, Desscaras, Togeice, all of them combined can't solve this. They survive it. They protect people long enough for it to pass. That's not a failure. That's the story being honest about the scale of what's coming. After the World-Hater encounter, the arc pivots from action to consequence, and the consequence lands through Jika, the Oracle Witch, who brings the prophecy into focus. Ichi is marked. He's the one who stops the World-Hater, and doing that appears to require him to acquire the World-Hater Majik at the cost of his own life. Ichi hears that and responds like a hunter. If this is the prey, then this is the hunt. Simple, direct, terrifying is how unbothered he is about it. For Desscaras, it's not simple at all. And here's where the arc gives us the layer underneath everything. Her brother, Libero, was a boy who loved magic and admired witches. In a world that said boys had no place in that world, the World-Hater took him. Desscaras survived, and yes, Desscaras understands the catastrophic destruction that the World-Hater Majik can cause. And it cost the life of her brother in her past. And that loss is one of the foundations of who she became. Powerful enough, driven enough to stand in front of something like that. Now, here's what I want you to notice. Ichi walks into Desscaras' life as a boy connected to magic in a world that said that was impossible. He is an echo of Libero, not a replacement, an echo. And the prophecy is telling her that this boy, this echo, is being treated as expendable by fate. Her answer is the blood contract. She presents it to Ichi as a mentor-pupil agreement, paperwork essential. She doesn't explain the full terms. He signs it. And what he signed is this: if he dies, she dies too. She has tied her life to his, not because she's trying to control him, because she refuses to stand on the sidelines and watch the prophecy take him. This is not manipulation for its own sake. That's a woman who's already lost one boy to the World-Hater, deciding she will not lose another one from a distance. By the time chapter 22 closes, the status quo has shifted completely. Ichi is no longer just an outlier attached to Team Desscaras. He is bound to her by blood. The World-Hater has moved from legend into lived experience. And the question the arc leaves hanging is not whether Ichi will face it again. It's whether anyone, even Desscaras, can change what's already written. The Kindake Contest Arc earns its place as the arc where Ichi the Witch becomes something bigger than its premise. The contest is the bait. The real story is the prophecy, the grief, and the bond that now ties mentor and pupil together. Whether either of them fully understand that, or if they fully understand what that means yet. If you made it to the end of this video, thanks for hanging in there with me. Let me know what you think is forthcoming with the next arcs. And what do you think the World-Hater Majik is actually going to do to Ichi? Do you want to hear more about the World-Hater Majik? Do not forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video. Thanks for stopping by and watching.